Boys, and I gotta say, before we get into this, I was thrilled. WrestleMania 35 weekend. I saw
Mhm.
you. I met you in person for the first
Yes,
time at Madison Square Garden of all places,
you
and the
did.
look on your face when your husband brought me up to you was incredible. You were like, "Oh my god!" It was crazy.
Yay! Yes, I love meeting people that I've connected with over wrestling on Twitter, in person. It's always so fun.
Hell yeah! And you're like a wrestling super fan, I would say. How many shows have you been to, or have you lost like count by now?
Are we counting indie shows also, or are we just counting?
Everything.
Well, pre 2020, we were hitting about 50 shows a year.
Whoa.
For a couple of years there. And then I would say before that, I think when we first started really going to shows, we were doing maybe 20 shows a year. So, I mean, it's probably in like 500 or so.
Wow, that's a ton. I think I've been to probably like maybe 200 or 300, somewhere in that range, between two and
Yeah,
three. But 500, that's a big number.
it's
I'm
a lot.
hoping that the live event business and like the indie wrestling business really picks up as soon as we pass this COVID thing. What are your
Hmm.
thoughts on that? Do you think it's going to be like guns blazing once we get out of this? And
Uh,
it's going to be like a premium for tickets? You think people are going to race to the arenas?
well, indie wrestling still has kind of been going on and is picking up more and more, as as time goes on and we all kind of get used to how to handle things. So I mean, like I went to two wrestling shows last weekend, back to back. Masked up, of course, and everything, all that. But yeah, I think that once we're able to, that wrestling shows are definitely going to be like jam freaking packed. I'm actually like a little bit scared because I gotta be in the front row, and I don't want to have to be fighting people for front row tickets. So
Yeah, you're
we'll
gonna have
see.
to. I think it's gonna go crazy because a lot of people have had like just have been stuck indoors for so long and have just
Yeah.
waited for that moment. Concerts too. I think concert tickets are
Oh
gonna sell
yeah,
out like
concerts will
crazy.
be crazy for sure, for sure.
So tell me a little bit about the independent wrestling scene right now. I used to be huge into the indie scene. About a decade ago, I loved Ring
Hmm.
of Honor in that era, and I'd hit the local indies here in the East Coast. CZW, Chikara, some
Hmm.
small ones that would happen here in Tom's River and whatnot. And it was a lot of fun. I saw a
Yeah,
lot of today's stars
yeah.
very early in their career, and that was amazing to see. But you love it still, and I try to keep up with some of the wrestlers that are out there and some of the talent, but many I just can't keep up with because there's so much wrestling now. But tell me a little bit about like the top stars right now in the business.
Okay, yeah. I mean, geez, there are just so many indie wrestlers, and wrestling companies and wrestlers. I mean, literally, there's so many. But right now, I mean, obviously, of course, GCW is killing it. Probably the top indie company in the country. Beyond Wrestling, huge one out of the Northeast. AIW out here in the Midwest, Future Stars of Wrestling out of Las Vegas. I mean, lots of really big companies. Future Stars is previous home of Chris Bay, who's
Mm.
coming up in Impact now. But indie wrestling is definitely thriving, and there's new guys and gals and theys coming up in the business. I mean, it seems like every day I'm learning about someone new, and I'm like, oh my God, how do I keep up
Who
with all these people?
who's on your shirt right now? Who's on your hoodie?
This
Who
is
is that?
Mance Warner.
Okay.
It's my,
Wow.
it's my baby.
He's got that Stone Cold Steve Austin, like Bret
Yeah,
Hart sharpshooter WrestleMania 13 face going right there. What tell
yeah.
me, is there a backstory about that shirt? Is that custom or is he selling that
He
like in
is
his merch
he's
store?
he's selling it. I think it's on his I think it's in the merch link in his bio. It's like a Teespring hoodie. But yeah, I saw this, and I love me some blood. Uh, some some death match, so I had to get this one.
So I'm gonna pull up Mance Warner's Twitter page because I'm not really I've heard of this guy before. I've definitely heard of him, but I'm not really
Mhm.
familiar with his work. And there's the t-shirt store, prowrestlingtees.com, almost
Mhm.
10,000 followers. That's gonna be a big landmark. Tell me about this
Mhm.
guy. You're obviously a fan. What should we know about Mance Warner?
Mance Warner. I mean, you can see there his pinned tweet. He's the eye poke god. He's the medium sized Mandys, lariats, and light beers. I first saw Mance Warner in a flea market in southern Indiana, And when I first saw him, it was IWA Mid South, and I was like, he came out in jeans. He had like a little what are those things called? Like a one piece wrestling suit. I forget what they're called.
Yeah, like a singlet,
Yeah,
right?
a singlet. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So he came out, he comes out to Simple Man, the shine down version. And I was just like, this guy is just like, I don't know, he's very like enigmatic. He's got a big personality. Everybody loves him. Throws a mean lariat, loves to drink some light beers, you know. He does have a very stone cold kind of vibe, but instead of a Texas, more like a Southern boy, stone
Oh,
cold kind of vibe.
good
He's
stuff.
great. He does some death match. He does some, more traditional wrestling, and he is a good guy. I've been a fan of his for a long time. He's always been great in the ring and, out of the ring to his fans.
Does he have any big feuds going on that we could talk about? Maybe that like some matches that we could point fans into that direction?
He did semi recently, I think over the summer, have a match at GCW with Nick Gage. That was a
Ooh.
pretty big match. So, he is also part of the Second Gear crew. Kind of, I would say some of the top indie guys right now: Matthew Justice and AJ Gray. And
Look at that.
Matthew Justice, AJ Gray, and what is his name? Manders. And Effie, they're all in the Second Gear crew. So those are his boys that he rolls with. So he's definitely in good company.
I got to get up with GCW because they run. I think they're based here in Jersey, right? I'm pretty sure they are. And
Yeah.
yeah, and they're doing a lot of shows in like Atlantic City and
Hmm.
doing stuff. I got to get up with that as soon as they start coming back around here.
Yeah.
But let's pivot for a minute
Sure.
to your Twitter account. I
Okay.
got to ask you about this because I think like I met you maybe through my show or maybe somehow through Twitter when I was
Okay.
doing a lot of live streaming back in like 2017, and I
Hmm.
noticed I don't love that. And I always wondered, and I don't even think I asked you. And if I did ask you, I don't
Uh-huh.
remember because I smoke a little weed, so I might not remember, But what does it mean? Like, what's that? I don't love that.
Honestly, when I was younger, high school, teen, I used to just say that all the time, everything, I would see things and I would just be like, I don't love that. I don't love that. I would say I don't love that about everything all the time. Like my parents would say it. Like my parents to this day still say it, and they don't use social media. Like to this day, they still say that to me. Like if I'm talking about something, I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't really, I didn't really like that thing. They're like, oh, I don't love that, So it was just like a thing I always said, and it just kind of stuck. And I was like, oh, it's kind of like a easy moniker to use as a display name on things.
And so, do you still use it? Is that still something that you use to this day, or is it something that you've kind of like since you became cognitive of it, you stopped doing?
I have kind of stopped doing it. I mean, I will definitely see sometimes where I'll see something and be like, "Ooh, I don't love that." But then I'm also kind of like, I sometimes think before I say it because I'm like, is that like weird and kind of like, I don't know, like self-absorbed to to be like saying that now that people kind of know me by that. So.
I mean, you have a persona. Like I've gone by my real name for the
Mhm.
majority of the time. I think the entire time, yeah. And I was thinking about at one point like going by an alias. Like I was going with
Uh-huh.
like Jersey Strong J, and like during the Hurricane Sandy, I was like, yeah, I'm Jersey Strong, and that was so cheesy. It was beyond corny. So I ditched it. I ditched it, and then I was like, now I'm going to be all the way Jay. I'm going all the way.
Mhm.
I'm all the way, and I'm like, that's so super stupid. I did it for like a day. But you have two dope ones. You've got at I don't love that and at BustItBarbie TV, which I absolutely love. I see so it's BustItBarbie TTV.
Yeah,
What's the
Twitch
other?
TV.
Okay, Twitch TV. Got it.
Yeah.
So tell me about this. Tell me about like your gaming and like content creation and what you're trying to do here, because this is all the rage right now, and I have no
It
idea how to
is.
do it. And
It
people
is.
and I get so mad playing video games, and I only play sports games. I only play UFC, so I don't think anybody's
Uh-huh.
going to want to watch that. But tell me about this.
I've been a fan of Twitch for a long time. I've been watching Twitch for several years now. It was something I've worked from home for a lot of years, even pre, pre 2020. So I used to watch Twitch while I was working. I was kind of there for the come up of probably the most Twitch famous person, who is Ninja. Yeah, I remember watching his channel and people just going crazy subbing to him, and he's like, "Oh my god," so um, once everything got locked down, we weren't really traveling so much, because that was the big stopper in my starting to stream, was that we were traveling a lot for wrestling and going all over the country, really. So
Yeah.
once everything kind of started to slow down, I was like, well, my husband started streaming, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it too. So I started doing it. And it's really fun. I love talking to everybody. My friends, tune in, and they're like, it's great to like kind of see you, but like not have I feel like sometimes a Zoom or a Skype chat with friends is a little bit like draining or sad. Whereas like if you're just the one talking and doing things and kind of pushing the conversation forward, and people can engage if they want to, or just sit and watch if they want to, it kind of helps some people feel like a little more connected, just to real life, to other human beings, if they don't live with anyone or have anyone that they're around. So I do play a variety of games. I play a lot of Overwatch, Animal Crossing. As you can see, the title of some of my streams, Angie support main. I do get super tilted sometimes. So yeah, but it's a lot of fun.
No, that's rad. The audio is just like you talking in my ears. Hold on. But yeah, no, that's rad. It's like, to me, it's fascinating because we spent, like, you could probably attest to this as I can. My childhood was full of adults telling me that I was wasting my time playing video games, that it was rotting my brain, which may have happened a little bit, who knows? But that I was definitely wasting my time, and it was going to amount to nothing, and I should be doing something else instead of playing those stupid games. But look at that. We have literal, I would say, younger millionaires now than we've ever had in the history of America. And simply because of this, for the most part, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, tons of, gaming leagues, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, people can compete in tournaments for multi-million-dollar prizes, just for being good at games. So it's definitely lucrative if you can. You either have to be really, really good at games, or you have to have a personality that people like to be around, and the personality is first. As you see there, I did do a food and drink stream. I did a cooking stream, because we talk a lot about food in my stream, and everyone's like, you should do a cooking stream. So I brought everyone to my kitchen, and we made a dish from the Overwatch cookbook.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that was really fun. So it's fun, and it kind of keeps me connected to people and chatting, and also while playing games, which I love to do, and I do all the time, even off stream.
There you go. That's awesome. Now, who's got the better channel, you or your husband?
Who has the better channel, me or my
husband? That's a big one. You got to be careful. Like, who has more? Start with who has more followers.
I think I do, but just by a bit. I will say that I think that I am the crazier one. I get really like tilted about games. I like slam my desk, and I'm like, what are you doing? But he has something really amazing going on his channel, which he does once a week. He does a live wrestling interview with wrestlers, and then he does a Q&A in the chat where people watching can ask questions live and get them answered. And it's W34PONX for him. Yep.
There it is.
And then he does a merch giveaway. So one lucky person in the stream gets a t-shirt.
Right.
Just for showing up. Yep. So
that's rad. That's really cool.
Yeah, he's killing it. He's killing it with the wrestler interviews. And actually, if you don't mind, I would love to let everybody know about something that's going on tomorrow with regards to wrestling.
Please.
And tomorrow at 8 o'clock on IWTV, OWA, which is the Ohio Wrestling Alliance, they're based here out of Columbus, Ohio, which is where I live. They're airing their show Good Trouble, which was one of the shows I went to last weekend. It was an all Black talent wrestling show that they put on. It was It was an incredible wrestling show. I tell you, I haven't left a wrestling show feeling so happy in a long time. So I would really love for people to check out that show tomorrow at 8 p.m. And then my husband is interviewing two talents, O'Shea Edward and AC Mack, after the show on his Twitch channel, and he will be giving away a T-shirt for both of them.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
So here we are on IWTV,
Uh-huh.
and you said it was Ohio Wrestling Alliance, correct?
Yep. Yep.
So here we go. This is it. Make sure you check that out. That's awesome. Now, tell
It's
me
gonna be
a little
amazing.
more about. Let's dive a little deeper into the show that you just briefly mentioned, because I actually heard your tone changed when you did mention it. You had like a little touch of emotion in there.
Yeah.
So let's dive into that a little bit. Tell me a little bit about that show. What was
Um,
that experience like?
I'm sure you know, as a wrestling fan, you have your ups and downs with wrestling.
Definitely.
And sometimes, I'm sure, you know, sometimes there's just things that happen in wrestling and you just kind of get down on it. And you're like, I'm just not, you know, I love wrestling. I watch wrestling. I've been watching wrestling this whole time. But you know, over the summer, I was kind of down with some things that were going on Twitter, finding out that some people were maybe not who they seemed to be, and it was like, you know, I'm just having such a hard time really caring about wrestlers and wrestling right now. Um, and when my friend, who's the promoter of Ohio Wrestling Alliance, he put on the show, and he, you know, he'd had this idea for since the inception of his company. It was obviously put off in February of 2020. We couldn't, or he was going to do it in March of 2020. Was put off, so he did it February 2021, and you know, it was a good vibe from the moment we walked in, but the show was just like flawless. Every match was amazing. It just, I don't know, it just like made me have this feeling like I've just like I've not left a wrestling show feeling just so good about wrestling in a long time. And that was like not due to anything else other than wrestling, because I was not drinking any White Claws. I was not doing anything else. So I
I
was just pure wrestling joy.
I can relate. I can relate. I've been at a few wrestling shows where I've had that feeling where I've almost become overwhelmed with emotion. I'll drop them right now. So the first one that I can remember was when I saw Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero with the belt at Madison Square Garden. I was at
Mhm.
WrestleMania 20. So being in that arena when that happened, we did not even think it would be close to Chris Benoit winning. So we didn't know that moment was going to happen. And the next one was Sasha and Bailey at NXT Takeover Brooklyn. I was like,
Mhm.
wow, this is a moment. But
Yeah.
that's big for an indie show to do, and I
Yeah.
hope we actually see more of that, because it's an important message, and people need to understand the reason behind that message, and actually, you know, get a little critical with it instead of just looking at the I don't know what's on the surface.
Mhm.
But I want to have some fun with you right now. I want to have
Okay.
some fun, okay? And
Mhm.
this is going to be a quick little it's going to be like this or that, but
Okay.
it's going to be a wrestling edition. So it's going to be this is the first time I've done this, and it's
Okay.
going to be a lot of random ones from like the last, I don't know, for forever in wrestling, just weird ones. So let's start with this one. Ready? And if you want to elaborate on any of your answers, please feel free.
Okay.
Okay, cool. All right. ROH or TNA?
ROH.
Edge or Christian?
I'll say Christian because I was always a Christian fan as a kid. I thought he was the cuter of the two.
There you go. There you go. On that same kind of level here, Bubba or Devon?
Oh God, Devon, I guess.
uh, CM Punk or Samoa Joe?
I'm gonna have to say Samoa Joe because I completely missed the CM Punk era in wrestling. I was, you know, a teenager and I was like, I'm too cool for wrestling. So
Wow.
yeah.
Well, with the power of the WWE network now almost soon to be featured on Peacock, you can go back and
Yes,
see all of
I
that for
could.
just, what is it now, $5.99 a month.
Yes, with
Um,
commercials.
so Punk, have you ever seen the old Punk and Joe ROH matches?
I have seen one of them. I definitely had somebody point one of those out to me and have me watch it. I was not big into ROH, you know, back in the Daniel Bryan, Samoa Joe days, unfortunately. But I do love ROH now and the current talent that they have there. And of course, my boy Damian Priest, formerly Punishment Martinez, is a product of ROH. So gotta love them.
Can I give you, I'm going to say a secret right now. I'm not going to say
Okay.
who I spoke to, but I spoke to somebody at NXT. Okay. And process of elimination, if you follow me on Twitter, you might be able to find out who it was.
Okay.
And I told that person, Damian Priest needs a push. What are you doing? Why are you wasting your time with Damian Priest? And like 2 weeks later, he became the North American champion. Now, I'm just saying that maybe it had something to do with what I said. Maybe it didn't. But I said this in a DM, and maybe the point got across. But I'm a big fan of Damian Priest. I think he's going to do huge
He's
things.
amazing. He's love him. He's just great.
Yeah. Yeah. If I went a different direction in life, I probably would have been that guy, to be honest. All right. So let's continue with this random like list I made. Cena or Orton?
Cena.
Ooh, I didn't expect that. I thought you were going to go Randy Orton.
Randy Orton, he's okay, but there's only so many RKOs out of nowhere, that you can really deal with. Also, I went to Money in the Bank in St. Louis, the first women's Money in the Bank pay-per-view, and all the Randy Orton stans that live in St. Louis were there, and I was like, I'm over this right now. So, because he was wrestling Jinder Mahal at that pay-per-view. So, I was beefing. I was ready to beat up someone's grandma. I was like, don't talk about Jinder.
Don't hinder Jinder. I was on the Jinder train too at the time. I loved Jinder Mahal. I was all about it. I was at the Punjabi prison match that they had. I was at that.
Amazing. I want to put a Punjabi prison around my house.
You should definitely do that. All right. I'm going to X that one, and we're going to go to the next one. I had one that I don't want to ask you anymore. How about this one? Janela. This is an easy one. I know who you're going to say. Janela or Enzo?
God. Janela, I guess.
Right? Yeah. Janela or Enzo. I saw Janela one time. He was wrestling in a mask in New Jersey. He was actually Starman, the character from the old Nintendo video game.
Okay.
And he was in Pro Wrestling Syndicate, and what he did was he got a running start from the top of the ramp. They had like this little Titantron thing, and he just did a running jump and drop kick to this dude on the outside of the ring, and in the back of his head crashed onto the gym floor. It was a basketball court floor, or no, I'm sorry, it was a hockey rink floor. I'm pretty sure hockey rink floor. Knocked him out. They had to bring in a stretcher. The kid was knocked out. This was in 2013. I believe I have video of it somewhere, but that's the first time I knew who that dude was.
Right. He's definitely come up from his humble roots of being thrown off a garage into a truck.
Yeah, definitely for sure. How about Sean or Brett?
I'll say Sean because I feel like he's just more likable to me. Personally.
How about Hulk or Randy? Hulk Hogan or Randy Savage?
I guess I'll go with Randy Savage.
The Macho Man. Yeah, dig it.
Yeah, not a big Hulk Hogan fan.
Yeah, I understand. I can't turn my back on the Hulkster. I got it.
A lot of people can't.
I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan. I'd be doing something else with it. Here we go. Cody or Dustin? That's a tough one. I picked one here too, and I want to see if you're aligned with mine because so far we're pretty much aligned, I would say.
Geez, as just like personally, I would probably say Cody, and that's only because I've met Cody a couple times, and he's always been super great to me. I'm sure Dustin would be also, but I really like his dogs and how much he loves dogs.
Right on. I actually said Dustin, and the reason I said Dustin is because I saw him wrestle when he was making his comeback at an indie show in Jersey, and he was wrestling Sammy Callahan, and it was a really, really good match. Like it was a ridiculous good match. It was Sammy Callahan went to NXT, I think, a couple weeks later. And Goldust was back in the main roster within weeks too after that match. And he put him over. So Sammy won the match, and then he cut a promo telling Sammy how good he was and how he's the future of the business. And Billy Corgan was there that night too, which was very strange. Billy Corgan was sitting in the corner of the gymnasium and just like with a hood up and just watching, and nobody was around him. And I walked up to him. I was like, "What's up, man?" I was like, gosh. I love butterfly wings, man. All right. All right, here we go. Here's some women questions. I wanted to keep them separate. Here's an old school one. The sensational Sherry or woman?
Sherry.
Okay, we're aligned on that one too. How about Lita or Trish?
Lita. I
Lita,
wanted to be
definitely.
Lita so bad when I was, a young kid. So always was in my room trying to dress like her, asking my parents if I could dye my hair red, and they're like, "No."
I waited online to meet Lita for like an hour when I was 28 years old. That shows you how much I like Lita, and I got chills when I met her too.
Yeah.
All right, how about Sasha or Bailey?
Sasha probably.
That's a close one though, right?
I just Bailey's an amazing wrestler, but I just don't like connect with Bailey. I don't know.
Completely
There's
understand.
something missing there with me and her.
I was Sasha Banks on that too. The only one that we were different on this whole thing was I had Randy Orton instead of
Hmm.
Cena, and I had Brett over Shawn,
Hmm.
and the rest was, and I had Dustin over Cody, and the rest were aligned. So
Yeah.
pretty close there, pretty close. So I kind of like briefed you on this question, and this is a question that I want everyone who comes on this show who has anything to like put out there into the universe to not
Hmm.
only the wrestling community but just people, anyone who stumbles upon this podcast. And this is a question. It's just basic, like, what is some like practical, real life advice that anyone can use to achieve their goals. And this could be your interpretation of that, and explain it any way you want to, and elaborate on it and add to it. But take that kind of basic question and just throw something out there to anybody who might be listening to help them out.
Okay. Yeah. So I think that to a really great way to achieve goals and to maybe achieve success, whatever your interpretation of success is to first and foremost always be good to people. I'm really a proponent of being good to people, but also to accept help if people are trying to help you, maybe someone who's been in a similar situation as you, to accept help. Of course, you don't have to listen to what everybody's saying. You can do things your own way. But I think that most people have not gotten to some level of success without a little bit of help from someone else somewhere along the way. And I think that also for me, like real success would be able to help turn around and then help someone else achieve goals and success as well. So you see it a lot with streaming. People will say like, "Hey, how'd you get affiliated? How did you get people to watch your stream? How did you get people to subscribe?" And a lot of times you'll see streamers just say, "Oh yeah, just keep grinding," which of course, yeah, I mean, yeah, you're going to have to grind, of course, but I think that that's kind of a cop out answer, and I think that really being successful and caring is to try to reach a hand down and show someone like, "Hey, this is what I did. um Here are some things I actually did, not just keep grinding to reach a level of success that I'm at that you want to get to as well." Because somebody else being successful is not going to take away your success. So I just think that, being good to people, accepting help when you can, and then turning around and also offering help to those people who are grinding their way up once you've reached your success.
No pun intended, but I love that. Okay. So let me, what are your goals for Twitch, and what you're doing right now outside of the 9 to 5? Because a big part of this channel for me is
Mhm.
I like my 9 to 5. I have no
Yeah.
problem with my 9 to 5. I respect everyone there. Great company. I would be happy staying there for the next 20 years. But the fact remains that I've had this goal since you probably first met me on Periscope,
Hmm.
that I want to escape that kind of lifestyle and live a life of 100% freedom on my terms always. So what are some of your goals with your channel, and moving forward outside of the 9 to 5?
Yeah, so of course I want to keep growing my Twitch channel. I won't give any like actual figures right now, but I do earn a very small side income from Twitch at this point in time, which is great because I do play video games all the time. So earning a couple, a little bit of extra money every month is really cool. Like, hey, people are actually paying to watch me play video games and talk and be, crazy. So um I would love to keep growing it. Every 6 months or so, I set a new follower goal. I would love to. I don't know if it will ever happen, but I would love to be able to solely um, survive off of my Twitch money. But I would say that probably my 2021 goal would be on Twitch to have 800 followers, and I would love to have somewhere around 50 subscribers. Right now I have about 27 subscribers, so I would love to get to about 50 subscribers. I think that for this year that would be a really good goal. This August will be my 1 year anniversary, so I would love to see the growth in the channel.
Absolutely. I'll do whatever I can to help you too. I'll retweet. I'll do whatever we can to help you out here at
Thank
PWP
you.
Nation. And
Mhm.
and like I want to have you back on the show. Maybe next month, maybe the month after that. We'll plan it out. And
Yeah.
on that episode, I want you to talk more about Twitch and tell people how they can start their Twitch channel and kind of walk us through how you did it. But we'll do that next time. Thank you so much for joining me. Any like
No
final
problem.
words you have for anybody watching out there?
Final words, thanks obviously for having me on. And of course, everybody, just be good to each other, do what you love, be happy. And if you can't have a good day, don't ruin someone else's.
You're mad cool. So happy we had this conversation. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jay.
I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye. All right, everybody. Well, that was Chris.